Hi, I'm Tish and welcome back to Auto Social UK. Now you probably already know what this is. It's a Mazda MX-5 and it's one of the most recognisable sports cars in the world. And people seem to either love the MX-5 or love to hate it. And I think those latter people just don't understand the Mazda. And why do I think that? Because that's what I used to think. And spoiler alert, spending a day with the Mazda MX-5, it's completely changed my mind. So if you want to see my thoughts, then please keep watching. If you like new car reviews and car content, then hit the subscribe button. So why is the Mazda MX-5 so popular? It's sold in its absolute millions. Now in its fourth generation and been around for nearly 3 decades, they've sold over 1.1 million Mazda MX-5s worldwide. It actually holds a Guinness World Records for the most sold roadster. But I think one of the reasons why is because they've not really messed with the formula. It's still really compact in size. Now in its fourth generation, it's actually the smallest it's ever been since its first gen. And that's great because in a world where everything's only getting bigger, it's nice to have something that goes against the grain. The Mark IV was updated in 2018, but in a typical Mazda fashion, it was a small facelift as a result of customer feedback. Both 1.5 and 2 litre versions received a small hike in power and became WLTP compliant. More standard safety kit was fitted, as was a telescopic steering column for a more comfortable driving position. Further revisions were made in early 2020 with a realigned model lineup and additional standard equipment. The MX-5 is also really popular in the modified car world, but this top-spec Sport Tech trim actually comes with its own upgrades straight out of the factory, and those include these amazing 17-inch gloss black BBS alloy wheels. One of the lovable things about an MX-5 is how much it feels like a little toy car, and I love that Mazda kind of play off of that, and that's included with this really long aerial. It almost looks like one of those little toy cars that you drive along, but I absolutely love it. And it's got a lot of cutesy kind of elements, including these round little rear lights. They're definitely things that just add to the charm. But the Mazda MX-5 actually isn't that impractical. There's actually a reasonable amount of space in the boot. The boot is unaffected by the roof's position, so you can drive with the top down and still have a reasonable amount of luggage space. I say reasonable, it holds 130 litres, but with the top-loading, oval-shaped opening, it's quite wide, and that means that the space is more usable and it's big enough to carry a couple of carry-on suitcases. The MX-5 comes in 2 different roof variants. You've got a hard top and a soft top. The soft top is actually still manual like it's always been, but the hard top is actually electrical. So, press this button. The annoying thing about this mechanical roof is you can only do it at maximum speeds of 5 miles per hour. So let's face it, you can only really be stopped whilst you're doing it, which is a little bit annoying considering I can put the roof down on my Abarth at 40 miles per hour. This Sport Tech line trim gets some really nice light grey Napa leather which feels really good quality, and I personally think it looks fantastic contrasted with the dark blue paint on the exterior. And you've also got some really nice carbon detailing like around here on the door handle, and then some really nice chrome door handles and around the air vents and on the steering wheel. This car might be cheap compared to other cars like the Porsche Roadster or also the BMW Z4. But actually, the use of these high quality materials do make the MX-5 feel like a premium product. It's just as you look a little bit closer at things like the gear stick, which I found that I could actually move all the way round, which then you'll realise a reflection in the price. Inside is the perfect blend of being modern, but also having a lot of old school tweaks, like I haven't got a digital instrument cluster like in the Abarth, I've just got the standard classic dials, which really, I've always thought that digital instrument cluster was a little bit of a fad anyway, so I definitely don't miss that. I've also got a physical handbrake that everybody will be happy to know for doing big skids. I've got physical climate control dials, which are so much nicer than messing around with the centre touchscreen. Everything is really simple to use actually, and it's all very driver focused. Then again, it is so small in here that everything's gonna be driver focused because it's really quite narrow.
Speaking of space, with it being more premium than the Mazda, there's a few hidden cubby holes around the cabin to help tuck things away, including between the seats as well as behind them, and a couple of retro cup holders, which seem rather an afterthought. It's a shame that the entry-level SEL misses out on rear parking sensors, but all other trims get them as standard. A rear view camera is standard on the Sportec and the GT Sportec models, with all trims getting LED headlights. If you want auto lights and wipers, you'll need the second rung sports trim or higher. That also gets you auto dimming rear view mirror. Every Mazda MX-5 gets a smart 7-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, SatNav, DAB radio and Bluetooth connectivity included. There's also a single CD player, which is something of a novelty in today's cars.
Straight away, the whole pedal setup is completely alien to me. Everything feels like it's moved right over to the right, and I suppose that's because there's not really much space in this car at all. So it kind of feels like my clutch should be over on the left where there's nothing, and it feels like my accelerator is where my brake is. So this could take some getting used to, but hopefully I'll pick it up quite quickly. Of course, I do jump in and out of cars all the time at the moment, so it's not completely strange for me to get used to different sets up of cars, but this is completely different than anything I've ever driven. The Mazda MX-5 comes in two different engine options. There's a 1.5 litre, 130 brake horsepower, and that will do 0 to 62 in 8.3 seconds. I know, not really great, is it? Especially considering most pocket rockets that I've tested recently will do it in under that, and even my Arbath will do it in 7.1 seconds. So it doesn't sound all that impressive. But then you've got this car, which is the 2-litre engine with 181 brake horsepower, and that will drop the 0 to 62 time to 5.6 seconds. Much more impressive. And that means that it can take on the big guns like the BMW Z4. But is it all about outright power? Is the 2-litre engine the one that you should be going for? I don't think so. That's not really what the Mazda MX-5 is all about. It's not about how fast it can go in a straight line, but it's how much fun you have doing it. And I think that you can do that in even the 1.5 engine. And of course you get better fuel economy, it's not quite as expensive to insure, and it costs less to start with as well. So I definitely don't think you should be ruling it out just because this is the quicker one. I can really understand why this is such a popular car with slightly the older generation, but also younger petrol heads, because there's something about it which is just so classic. It really gives you that feel of an old-fashioned sports car, and I'm so glad Mazda have stuck to that winning formula. They could have made it more modern, they could have made it larger like every other car nowadays, but they've stuck to the classic, real old-school sports car feel, and I love that.
Whilst the MX-5 does stick to its roots, only powering the rear wheels with naturally aspirated petrol engines, no all-wheel drive options or turbos here, those engines are actually cleverer than ever, benefiting from all the tech that comes with Mazda's Skyactiv engine development.
Power on this latest generation of MX-5 is up on the previous model, and they've done that by some real nerdy technical things that, I'll be honest, I don't know a huge amount. Like they've shaved some weight off of the pistons amongst some other things. And it might have been simpler just to whack on a turbo, and they could have increased this car's power by a lot. But I'm glad that they chose not to do that. They really kept their engine mechanics simplistic, and that really sticks with the ethos of this car.
So while they remain 1.5 and 2-litre engines, they've had tweaks, lighter internals, and they're all over better than ever.
The steering is not always the most precise, but comparing it directly to my Arbath 595, it is a lot more settled on the road. But that could be because this Sportec edition does get the full-on sport suspension,
with Bilstein dampeners for a more focused handling setup, and a firmer, but not uncomfortably so.
However, if you did want an even smoother setup, then I'd probably go for the SEL on 16-inch alloy wheels opposed to these 17s, as the ride is a lot more settled. And just like that, the British summer has gone and it looks like it's going to start raining. So I think it's time that I take the MX-5 back. I'm really glad I got a chance to try this out, and it really has won me over with just those classic sports car charm and just the fact that it's uncompromised and it's just exactly the same as it always has been. And now I understand why so many people love this car. Are you a Mazda MX-5 lover or hater? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button. And I also want to say a huge thank you to Underwood's Mazda in Colchester for lending me the MX-5. If you're interested in this particular car or any other cars they have in stock, I'll pop all their details down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.